Hi, I'm Elvira Boulet from the Dimitri Boulet Piano Duo, and today in this video I want to talk to you about posture. So bad posture can unfortunately cause injuries, and sometimes, especially for those of you who are self-taught, it can be really tricky to correct yourself on bad posture. So in this video I just want to walk through basic posture, and I want to walk through a few mistakes that I commonly see, and finally I want to give you some tips on how to correct yourself and how to work on good posture. So let's start with the basics. First of all, let's discuss how high you should sit. So basically what you want is an approximately 90 degrees angle when you put your hands on the keyboard. So what you don't want to sit, if you're sitting too low, you're going to see your elbow pointing downwards and your arms actually pointing upwards. That's the indication that you're actually sitting too low. If you're sitting too high, you'll see your arms bending kind of downwards and often your shoulders a little bit high. So the ideal situation is approximately 90 degrees. Don't get a ruler or anything. It's just approximate, and especially you want your arms to be parallel with the floor. So if your arms are approximately parallel with the floor when you put your hands on the keyboard, then you're sitting on the proper height for you. So I think one of the mistakes that I see people make is that they are just taking an ordinary chair, which is often too low, and they don't think about the height in which they sit at all. And this can cause a lot of back pain. So generally what I would advise is that you have an adjustable piano chair. With an adjustable piano chair, you can find your perfect height. Okay, so don't sit too low, don't sit too high. Next one, how far to sit away from the piano. Now this one is maybe a little bit tricky to explain. I always say that your knees have to be just about under the keyboard. What you don't want is you don't want to sit too close, in which your arms, you'll see, even though I'm sitting on the correct height, my arms still are making this weird kind of bend because I look a little bit like a T-Rex. So that's when you're sitting too close, you look a little bit like T-Rexy. When you're sitting too far, you'll notice that your arms are too stretched. And you actually want to keep that approximate 90-degree bend. And because I'm sitting too far from the piano now, I don't have that bend. So that's a little trick that you can see if you're not sitting too far or too close. My advice is generally approximately with your knees just under the piano. That's a bit of an abstract concept. That's why I gave you the little tips of no T-Rexing and no straight arms. Now, one final thing, what I see very often with posture is actually sitting too far with your butt too far behind and with most of their legs supported by the chair. Now this isn't good. What you want is actually, you want to sit kind of on the edge of the seat, because it's exciting stuff, piano playing. You want to sit on the edge more. I don't know if you can properly see that with the camera, and if not, don't worry, I'll shoot another video with Dimitri will shoot another little short video in which you can see maybe a good posture from all angles. Make sure, so not too much backwards on your seat. I see this so often. It's, you know, pretty standard that people do this because they feel more comfortable. You don't want a lot of your upper legs supported by the chair. You don't want that. You want actually to sit on the edge of your seat. Just to sum up, what we want is we want an approximate 90 degrees angle. We want our arms to be approximately parallel to the floor. We don't want to sit too close. We just want our knees to be under the piano. If you sit too close, you can see that because you look a little bit like a T-Rex with your arms. If you're sitting too far, you have them stretched and you lose that angle that you want. So, and also do not, make sure that you sit more towards the edge of your seat. Make sure you're not sitting too much backwards on your chair. Okay, so that's it for basic posture. Now, actually, let's dive into a few common mistakes that I see of bad posture. Now, I would say, and I have been guilty of these too myself, and sometimes still am, by the way. Posture is definitely something that you'll want to keep working on, that you'll want to keep on noticing. So the first one is raised shoulders. I see this so much. So what you want is you want to really, and you can do that exercise if you're taking a break, you can do that in your breaks. You want your arms to be loose and hanging, and that's also how you want your shoulders to be, exactly on the height as if your arms are loose and hanging. So just shake them out, let them totally hang let the gravity pull them down, and then just put your hands on the keyboard. That is the position you want your shoulders in. And if you are somebody that knows that they actually pull their shoulders up during playing, I have a little trick for you. I used to do this all the time. Just write in your score above every page, shoulders down, so that every time that you start a new page, when you're playing through, when you're practicing, you see this and you get triggered to kind of let those shoulders hang. You can also write this in your score during, for example, whole notes, rest moments, fermatas. Anytime that you have a tiny little break, just make sure that you get into the habit of checking your shoulders and pulling them downwards, letting gravity pull them downwards, relaxing them. Second most common bad posture habit is moving the neck actually forward like a turtle. And sometimes I see the combination of this, like pulling up the shoulders and moving the neck forward. It looks like kind of looks like a turtle. I see this also. Very often, I would say the pulling the neck out is also because we're busy with what's in front of us. We're busy with reading the score, and we kind of are looking like that. We're very concentrated. We don't notice how much this actually pulls on our neck, pulls on our back, makes issues. So 2 tips on how to handle this one. And the first one is just play by heart sometimes. And when you're playing by heart as an exercise, just try to look around while you're playing. You know, if you hit a wrong note, don't worry about it. But try to get out of that habit of just looking forward and pushing that neck outwards. Second tip, actually my teacher gave this, one of my teachers in the conservatory gave me this tip, and I've really liked it, always liked it, for posture. So pretend that there is a glass wall separating you from whatever's going on here from the keyboard. There's this glass wall over here and you cannot cross it. And play everything just with this glass wall in between you. So visualize that for you and then start playing. So that's definitely a visualization that helped me improve my posture a lot. So I hope it helps for you too. And you can do the same thing as I advised for the shoulders. You can just put the word neck in your score. Some people will be very confused if they borrow your score, but just to trigger yourself to watch that neck of yours, that you don't stick it out too much, and that you learn to relax it, and that you learn to also be conscious of your posture when you are practicing. I've got one more tip for you to help you work on your posture. It's actually one of my favorites, and that is use a mirror. Now, I know that not all of you have a floor-length mirror next to you when you're practicing. If you do have the opportunity, I would highly advise it. It's one of the best ways to work on posture. You just put a long mirror next to you, and then every so often you can look in the mirror and you can see actually what you're doing, and you can see your posture. And because it's right next to you, you'll also see the movement in the mirror, so you'll be always conscious, you'll be always aware of actually your posture. Now, I understand that not everybody has a floor-length mirror in their practicing room available, and dragging it up and down from the stairs is probably also not ideal. So as an alternative for that, I think it would be wonderful if you made a recording of yourself. Just put your phone next to the piano, make sure you can see your whole body, and you can do 2 things. You can actually just flip the camera and you can watch on the screen while you're playing, while you're recording yourself. You can already watch for that immediate feedback. And of course, you can also watch it back on a larger screen if you finished making the video. So 2 things with the camera. You can watch while you're doing it if you just flip the screen, and you can watch it back later as well. If you watch back your video later, you can definitely catch some things that you were probably not aware that you were doing, maybe some bad habits, maybe some improvements that you can make on your posture. Okay, so I think that was all for today, and I really think that posture is something that needs to be worked on. I think it's something you need to be conscious of, and especially if you're self-taught, you need to be aware that bad posture, even if the effect isn't immediate, it can cause injuries, especially over the long term. So I think that's something good to be aware of and is good to work on. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you're notified every time we upload a video. You can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, especially if you want to hear us play. We upload a lot of our playing there. Thank you so much for watching. As always, it was a pleasure, and see you next week.